Welcome to King 5. I'm Andy Judson. This is The Week, a look at what made headlines in our region, along with your weekend forecast. Up first, for the first time in more than 50 years, Seattle's mayor is facing a recall hearing. 2 Seattle residents launched the recall effort against Mayor Wilson. King 5's Natalie Swaby has details on why they're taking this step.
In Seattle, a lifelong resident is leading the charge to recall Mayor Katie Wilson.
Nobody else was stepping up to the plate.
Melinda Jacobson decided to act, pointing to what she sees as one public safety failure after another. She says Wilson let gunfire and trafficking take over North Aurora and accuses her of letting open-air drug markets grow unchecked in the Chinatown International District and Belltown.
I've had one supporter say we have a mayor in training wheels right now.
She has people backing her, but there's opponents too.
Critics might say, well, she inherited some of the problems that were happening there, and she hasn't been there long enough to make a difference. What would you say to that?
She definitely did inherit problems. There's no doubt about it. But has she done anything active about it? Not that I can see.
One decision late last month pushed her over the edge.
The point where I decided I really have to do something is when she fired the police chief in the middle of a murder investigation.
After the deadly mass shooting at Seattle Center, the mayor requested Chief Sean Barnes' resignation. He stepped down, severance package in hand.
That makes no common sense. And it was also very expensive for the city, too. You know, $700,000. That's a lot of money.
Now the recall effort moves forward.
That is a legal process that will be playing out.
A hearing lands at the end of the month.
I personally will not be there. I will be represented by counsel.
Melinda Jacobson will be front and center in the courtroom.
And then we're ready to go.
The mayor's office released a statement saying the recall effort does not appear to have merit and that the court will address any questions while her office focuses on the needs of Seattle. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
A small piece of metal left on a Capitol Hill street has turned into nearly $1 million payout for the city of Seattle. The man at the center of the case tripped on exposed rebar, suffering serious injuries. King 5's Brady Wakayama brings us this exclusive story.
The 67-year-old man's injuries include breaking his back in 3 different places, and it was something so small he tripped on, some metal only this big, a few inches, and now the city of Seattle is paying for it.
Probably going to be a lifelong injury for him.
A life-changing fall over a piece of metal this attorney says his client never saw.
The case was easily preventable.
Chris Davis represents the 67-year-old man who asked not to be identified. Davis says his client parked near Broadway and Harvard and Capitol Hill on November 12, 2024. The man then walked around his car next to a protected bike lane. That's when he tripped on a nearly 2-inch piece of rebar sticking out of the street. Davis says the city is to blame, that the metal was left behind, hammered down but still exposed, after the city workers removed a concrete wheel stop.
Bent down, but even if they're bent down, they still present at least a 1.5 to 2 inch tripping hazard for people. So, and you can also tell that they blend in with the cement, so they're not easily seen.
Davis says the fall left his client with a head injury and 3 fractures in his back that required surgery.
Over time, with normal wear and tear, usually the sections above the hardware and below will become arthritic and degenerate over time, so that can cause additional problems in the future.
The case was filed in September 2025. After a full day of mediation last month, the city agreed to settle. The price tag, $775,000.
Of the settlement, about $185,000 went to past medical bills, and the rest went to future medical bills and then his pain and suffering.
When we went back to the corner, the rebar appeared to be gone. But Davis says he's handled several other cases involving serious injuries from exposed rebar throughout Seattle and wants the city to do more.
The city knows this, and unfortunately they just have not been diligent as far as replacing those wheel stops.
A spokesperson with the city attorney's office sent us a statement saying, in part, the city is pleased it was able to resolve this matter and has no further comment. In the newsroom, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
Two dogs that attacked a pregnant Tacoma woman on the day she was due to give birth may not be euthanized after all. A new ruling gives their owners the option to move them out of Tacoma instead. King 5's Bridget Chavez spoke with the mom who survived the attack and says she fears someone else could be hurt because of this decision.
I just got to get
Since the attack,
to a safer place.
Renee's world has gotten smaller.
It's not safe here for us. Like, I can't even go outside.
She was 9 months pregnant when the dogs mauled her. Doctors had to induce labor. Now, the baby she was carrying, Armani, is 2 months old.
Yeah, so he was fine. He didn't have anything wrong with him. He was perfect. He was healthy. He was 6 pounds, 9 ounces.
For Renee, the relief of having a healthy baby hasn't erased what happened that day.
I could have lost my life. My son could have lost his life. If it wasn't for the neighbors, we absolutely would have been killed.
Both of those dogs are still designated dangerous. But now a new city ruling gives their owners 30 days to remove them from Tacoma.
I feel like they should have been put down, like, because me and my son could have lost our lives, and then just rehoming them some other place where they could potentially attack a child. I don't think a child could survive the attack.
If the owners cannot meet the requirements to remove them, both dogs must be euthanized.
I have PTSD. I'm traumatized emotionally, mentally. And then just the fact that the dogs were able to live and they're able to be relocated somewhere else where they could potentially hurt another family, it's very hurtful. It's even more traumatizing.
For Renee, the decision doesn't change what she now deals with each day.
Like, this is something that I have to live with every day and look at every single day, you know, another painful memory. These are all bites, all dog bites, all the way around.
And she says this ruling makes it harder to accept.
Very frustrating, because it just feels like our lives don't matter.
We did reach out to the owners of those dogs, but have not yet heard back. This ruling could still be appealed if somebody files a motion within 14 days, could also be appealed to the Superior Court. In Tacoma, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
New body camera video shows the candid moment sheriff deputies found a military pilot right after he crashed a fighter jet into the Cascade Mountains. It happened in Yakima County back in June, but the sheriff's office just released the footage. King 5's Jim Nelson has the story.
When Yakima County Sheriff's deputies raced into the Cascades, they could have easily run into disaster.
I'm very, very lucky to be alive. That's about as close as it gets.
Instead, they found a fortunate Marine Corps pilot who just moments earlier crashed a fighter jet near Rimrock Lake.
What kind of jet is that?
That's an F-18. Well, that was.
An F-18?
Yes.
I heard you guys.
Yep, we were doing circles over the lake, doing in some low-level training.
Okay.
And then I tucked in, and I'm not sure exactly. Honestly, I'm a little...
Nope, you're fine.
When I tucked in...
You hit the tree bad, bud.
I went through the trees.
Jesus.
And I'm looking up, so like I'm here, I'm flying level with the ridge line.
Got you
and
shaking.
then,
yeah.
I have some adrenaline going up.
No, you're good. Come sit in my truck here. Take a seat and you can make a call.
He and another pilot, both stationed in California, were on a training mission in June.
Watching the show, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke.
Yeah.
Didn't hear the jet hit.
That night, witnesses at a nearby RV park described what they saw.
They were just doing their maneuvers that they do kind of on a regular basis. And one just kind of went straight up. And the next thing we know, we didn't really hear a boom or anything, but we didn't really hear it come down. And next thing you know, we're looking out across the lake and trees are on fire and things are on fire. So
I came over that tree line, I hit those trees.
Damn,
and I ejected.
You got to fly higher.
I do need to go higher.
Deputies gathered his gear, loaded it into a pickup truck, and took the pilot to the hospital for minor injuries.
When we come back, meteorologist Adam Claybon shows you what to expect in the forecast this weekend, right after this.
Hey there, everyone. Well, welcome to the weekend. I am King 5 meteorologist Adam Claybon. We have a few more clouds and a cool down ahead for Saturday. Sunday will keep things relatively cool too, but definitely not going to be nearly as sunny and warm as what we had a lot of the work week. Now, we saw some of those changes on Friday, and that's coming in with the system that for today, for heading into the day on Saturday, we'll expect to see some chances of showers and maybe a few storms out there. A lot of that going to be for the higher terrain, but a few of us could see that here into the lowland areas too. We'll talk about that and also discuss how into next week we're probably going to see one warm day, but a lot of it's going to be relatively active and keeping things progressive and cooler with highs generally in the 70s and maybe some lower to mid 70s at that too. First though, let's take a look at the weekend because this series against the Cubs expected to be on the cooler side. Temperatures around first pitch for both Saturday and Sunday in the upper 60s, maybe the low 70s. Keep an eye out for that spotty chance of a storm around on Saturday. It looks like Sunday we'll see clearing skies as we go throughout the afternoon for that matinee matchup. And for the day on Monday, new series against the Phillies. Temperatures beginning to warm up quite a bit, and that'll be one of our warmer days into Monday. Tuesday, too, looking to be quite warm, plenty of sunshine out there. But as I mentioned, things are going to be relatively active here as we head over the next 7-day stretch, including what we have ahead for Saturday with the potential for thunderstorms that could be around. And air quality should be pretty good, though, as we're seeing a lot of that wildfire smoke pushed back off towards the eastern side of the state. So for the eastern side of the state, still some air quality alerts until further notice. Still going to be continuing to deal with those fires over there, and hopefully we're not igniting any additional fires with the lightning that's coming through us along with some of the powerful gusty winds that we could have with some of these cells. But you can see, looking at the smoke, blowing a lot of it off towards the east as we go throughout the day on Saturday as that system pushes on through, and we will continue to see more of those blue skies once they do start to clear out again late Sunday and into the start of next work week. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast, seeing highs generally around more of the lower to mid 70s. The only days that we're not around those marks, Monday and Tuesday. Quite the warm up there, getting up near the 80-degree mark. There's some shower and storm activity off of the coast, but you can't really see a whole lot here over the Cascades or the Olympics yet. More of that throughout the day on Saturday, and we'll see that especially towards the second half of the day on Saturday. We'll talk more about that here in a second. First, let's go over the red flag warnings that we now have in effect here until 5 p.m. on Saturday. You can see for the Olympics and the Cascades. Eastern side of the state, too, will be dealing with the elevated fire risk. As we have seen here for the past few weeks, anytime we have the thunderstorm potential, it's going to create a higher fire danger. And so those red flag warnings have been issued by the National Weather Service again. Futurecast here as we go on into the earlier part of the day on Saturday. Seeing some of those showers and storms trying to get their act together. Not really seeing a whole lot, though, where we are going to keep the majority of the action and the activity up this way around more of the North Cascades. And it's up there that I think we have pretty much the better chance of seeing a bit more of the activity flaring up as we go on into the second half of the day on Saturday. Not to say we don't see anything farther to the west here for areas in the lowlands, maybe some showers around or either out towards more of the coastal areas or even the Olympic Mountains too. It's just looking like the higher chances of seeing those storms flaring up will be across more of the North Cascades. And then you'll see heading into Saturday evening, 6 p.m., we should be done with our threat for thunderstorms at that point. And then we're just dealing with some very left behind, very light moisture, which is expected to produce a sprinkle or a drizzle or anything of that nature here as we head on into early Sunday morning before that eventually dissipates and gives way to more sunshine into the second half of the day. All right, so looking at what that means for potential for some of these rain totals, little of anything. Higher totals will be farther to the north where we do have the best chances of seeing some of those showers developing just a bit more. We're going to have the deeper moisture up that way, but for many areas here farther to the south, looks like it's going to be little of anything in terms of any sort of substantial or noteworthy rainfall. And let's get into this right here because you'll see, looking at Futurecast, we get past the weekend, a lot of that action begins to move off towards the east. We get that break in between for Monday and Tuesday, but you can also see there's some active weather coming through into the day on Wednesday. So we were talking about more of a progressive pattern beginning to show up, seeing a little more of these systems finding their way here across parts of the Pacific Northwest and including us here into western Washington. This is something you start to see once you get more into the month of September and especially towards the latter half of September and heading into the month of October as, we're going to see just more and more rain start to appear in the forecast. But what's popping up right now, showing up on models, an active period, but not all that much of a wet period, because a lot of these systems that will be impacting us probably going to have very limited moisture and rain to play with as they come on through. But it is going to mean that highs will probably be generally below average for a lot of this next 7-day stretch. You can see right here, seeing highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s for Monday and Tuesday, but for 5 out of these next 7 days, we're talking about highs generally in the low 70s. Here are your lows tonight, mid to upper 50s for those overnight lows. A little cooler up that way around Port Townsend and more the low 50s there. And then highs, we'll see more the low to mid 70s in a lot of spots, upper 60s as you head farther north, and lower to mid 60s out across some of the coastal areas. Your 7-day forecast, we'll see that things will stay relatively cool here over the weekend, or turn cooler here for Saturday and Sunday. Keep that chance of a storm around for the mountains. If you do have any plans on heading across the higher terrain, definitely want to keep an eye and an ear out for that potential. And then things do start to quiet down, at least for a couple of days before seeing that next chance of rain for next Wednesday, possibly even into early Thursday morning. Okay, everyone, well, take care. Have a great Saturday and Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Welcome back to The Week. It's been almost 3 months since a tank implosion killed 11 people at a Longview paper mill. Now crews are finally starting to dismantle that failed tank and potentially replace it with 2 more. Devin Haskins dug into the new paperwork.
A memorial outside the front gates of the Nippon Dynawave plant remembers the 11 workers who lost their lives on the morning of May 26th. Inside the gates, work has now begun to dismantle 3 out-of-service tanks, including the tank that catastrophically failed, causing hundreds of thousands of gallons of a caustic chemical, white liquor, to spill out. According to a permit issued on August 17th by the Washington State Department of Ecology, Nippon Dynawave plans to install 2 temporary bulk liquor storage tanks to prepare for a future mill startup. The mill has been closed down since the incident. Each tank would hold a different liquid in the paper pulp process. One would hold white liquor that would hold about 650,000 gallons. The other for black liquor that will hold 450,000 gallons. The permit filing says the tanks will be used for up to 3 months. Each tank will have safety measures in place to contain any spills and be inspected daily. For more than a month after the fatal tank failure, several state agencies remained on site to monitor the cleanup efforts and mitigate any ecological risks. Labor and Industries has an ongoing investigation into the incident, and according to an article in the Seattle Times, this work will not have an impact on that investigation. The union representing some of the workers of the plant says the work being done is encouraging. A representative for the union, Joshua Estes, wrote to KGW in an email saying, "It demonstrates tangible progress toward a potential restart and gives us reason for cautious optimism." He went on to say, however, it would be premature to treat this alone as a guarantee that the plant will restart or as a complete answer about its long-term future.
Union workers at one of Seattle's busiest hotels are doubling down on their demands. The strike against Embassy Suites near Lumen Field is already the longest hotel strike in Washington state history. Now, with football season starting up, they're calling for a resolution. King 5's Jim Nelson brings us the details.
2 months into the strike against Embassy Suites in Pioneer Square, workers are still banding together, drumming up support for better pay, year-round health care, and protections from federal immigration agents.
I am surprised, mostly company-wise, like how have you not settled this? But I'm not surprised that my coworkers and I are still out here because what we're fighting for is the right thing to fight for. We're fighting for each other.
They say hotel management hasn't come to the bargaining table in 7 weeks.
They're prolonging this and making it worse, honestly, for themselves. We can hold out as long as we need to.
People don't like walking through picket lines.
Seattle U law professor Elizabeth Ford teaches the school's workers' rights clinic. She says there are several factors in negotiations.
Generally, we people are not great at evaluating whether we're winning or not. And so many times in a negotiation like this, both sides think they're winning, and so they don't come back.
In addition to negative online reviews, the union claims the hotel has lost business, including a corporate account worth 18 grand a week.
This is a battle of confidence, and I'm confident that we're going to win.
State law gives striking workers up to 6 weeks of unemployment benefits. This strike has gone past 9, starting right before the World Cup in Seattle.
Some of us thought we couldn't afford to strike. What the company showed us is that we couldn't afford not to strike.
For many students of age, beer can be a vital part of the college experience. But the relationship is a little different at South Puget Sound Community College. The Olympia-based school is the only school in the country to offer 2-year degrees in cider making, brewing, and distilling. South Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson explains.
You guys came at like the busiest moment.
Martin Lee is used to action. He spent almost 30 years in the Army.
And we ran it through a centrifuge to get rid of all that heavy material.
But for his next chapter, he's a brewer, thanks to the 2-year degree he earned at South Puget Sound Community College.
Did all the, did cider making, beer making, distilling, did the history of fermentation, which is fascinating. You should really look into it.
His first solo creation, the Philly Sour Saison.
This is all we have left of it, so that's a good problem to have, right?
Thurston County Taverns started selling it last week.
I think that's probably everyone's idea or their goal is you create something that people resonate with, that they like, and that they want to. And I think that's why the craft brewing industry as a whole, or the craft industry as a whole, has just exploded.
One of our most popular beers, of course, nowadays is the Hazy IPA.
Jake Holshoe heads up the program that last year started selling its beers, ciders, and spirits created in the classroom and labs. Proceeds support the major at the college's satellite campus just down the street from the old Olympia Brewery in Tumwater.
It is an honor to work in the shadow of that, and I think what is most invigorating about what I do is bringing back brewing, distilling, and cider making right here in Thurston County for the first time in a while.
It's pouring pretty good. Awesome.
Martin Lee's Philly Sour Saison is the first all-student designed product.
Nice, beautiful beer.
To be sold by the college. Thanks to what he learned here, he's hoping to open his own brewery soon.
It's so fulfilling to have created something like this, to get the feedback from people to say, this is really good. I would like to drink this.
After getting the Sour Saison out there, the school will start working on a West Coast IPA next spring. But first, they're brewing an Oktoberfest beer coming out this October. In Tumwater, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
The Spokane area fires are now 97% contained and all evacuation orders have been lifted. But for hundreds of families who lost homes, the hardest part may just be beginning. King 5 Sebastian Robertson shows us how volunteers are helping survivors through what's expected to be a long recovery.
We have a spaghetti with some chicken and beans.
In downtown Spokane, the burners are hot. Lisa Barella is running the kitchen.
In the 17 years I've been living in Spokane, this is the first time I see something like this.
The Spokane Complex fires, composed of 3 independent fires, sparked August 1st. The flames forced some 65,000 residents from their homes, drew firefighters from across the country, and by the time they were out, destroyed hundreds of homes, displacing thousands.
You know, like you're talking about 13 years of memories for me and my family, and you want to back it in an hour.
Maisa Abudeha, founder of Feast World Kitchen, evacuated with her family. Her home was spared. For nearly 2 weeks, she's opened her restaurant to anyone and everyone impacted by the wildfires at no cost.
For whoever know me, that's the moment I feel sad. I want to be in the kitchen and cooking food. This is the whole concept we create this restaurant.
This is not a normal restaurant. It's a nonprofit. Typically, a different immigrant or former refugee chef cooks each day, sharing dishes from their home country, with the majority of the profits going directly to that chef. Today, the generosity is going the other way, from the kitchen to the people in need.
You know, especially refugees and immigrants, most of them, they came from countries that has war and disasters. And I felt that in their hearts, there is flashback coming back to their heart and their eyes, and they don't want anyone to be in this situation.
For the chef du jour, it's giving back the best way she knows how.
I cannot give you a house, but I can give you a meal that will help you feel a little better.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed a look at the biggest stories of the week.